So what is it that makes people risk literally everything to fight back? Today, we're going to dissect one of history's most constant, most powerful forces, rebellion. We're going to look right into its anatomy.
All right, so our guide for this whole thing, it's a single web page. Yeah, a single page on Wikipedia that lists thousands of uprisings from all throughout human history. The scale of it is just mind-boggling. It's like a running tally of our endless desire to push back.
And it's not just the number, the variety is just as wild. I mean, you've got Spartacus leading this massive slave revolt against Rome, and then fast forward 2,000 years, and you have students throwing up barricades in Paris in 1968. The world is completely different, but that core impulse, it's exactly the same.
So what can a list like this actually tell us? Beyond just dates and names. What are the common threads? What really pushes people to the breaking point? And maybe most importantly, what does it take to actually win?
All right, let's start at the beginning, the spark. What actually lights the fuse? When you look through all these different conflicts, you start to see the same few reasons pop up over and over and over again.
And first up is one of history's absolute classics, the tax. Seriously, if you want to get a big group of people angry, really angry, try and take their money. It's a tale as old as time.
And the list just proves it. Check this out. 1794, you've got American farmers starting the Whiskey Rebellion over a tax on booze. Go back 100 years before that, and French peasants are rioting over a stamp tax. Jump forward to 1898 in Sierra Leone, and a new hut tax imposed by the British kicks off an actual war. It doesn't matter where or when, the trigger is the same.
Okay, next on our list of triggers, the tyrant. This one's pretty straightforward, right? It's that age-old fight against a brutal ruler or a system that just crushes people's freedom.
And again, the examples are just all over the timeline. I mean, way back in 842 BC, you have people in China getting so fed up they kick their own king out. Flash forward to 1688 England, where they overthrow their king in the Glorious Revolution. Then in 1908, the Young Turks force the Sultan to bring back the Constitution. The details change, but the core mission is always the same: break the chains of power.
But it's not always about money or getting rid of a bad king. The third huge spark is the idea. Sometimes the thing that drives people to fight and die is a belief, a powerful vision for how the world should be.
Think about the Maccabean revolt back in ancient Judea. That was all about religious freedom. Or the Taiping Rebellion in China, an absolutely devastating civil war driven by a powerful new faith. And of course, the Easter Rising in 1916, where Irish Republicans fought for the dream of an independent nation. Yeah, when an idea takes hold, it can be the most powerful force on earth.
Okay, so that's the why. We've got taxes, tyrants, and ideas. But now for the who. Seriously, when you picture a rebel, who comes to mind? A farmer with a pitchfork? A student activist? Well, what this list shows us is you got to think bigger. The answer is basically everyone.
I mean, look at this. The diversity is incredible. Yeah, you've got the people you'd expect, right? Slaves and gladiators with Spartacus, peasants during the German Peasants' War. But then you've got soldiers, like in the Decembrist revolt in Russia. Students and workers, we saw them in 1968. And get this, even nobles, the wealthiest, most powerful people in the land, rebelling against their own king. It just goes to show, a rebellion can start from literally any part of society.
So, we've got the why and the who. But now we come to the big, tough question. What happens next? What are the odds of actually succeeding? This is where our Wikipedia list gets super interesting, because it color codes every single entry by the outcome. We get a real data-driven look at the brutal math of revolution.
And, well, the numbers don't lie. This is the stark, sobering reality of it all. When you add it all up, that huge bar right there, that's rebel defeat. The vast, vast majority of uprisings throughout all of history have failed. And it makes sense, right? The people in power usually have the army, the money, the whole system on their side. Pulling off a victory is incredibly rare.
And what's the difference between winning and losing? Well, it's everything. Take the American Revolution, a rebel victory. The result? A whole new country. Then you look at something like the January uprising in Poland against the Russian Empire, rebel defeat. The result there was just brutal suppression. It's the difference between making history and being crushed by it.
The stakes are just as high as it gets. Just look at these two examples, both slave revolts. Spartacus's rebellion in ancient Rome, it ended in a crushing defeat with thousands of his followers crucified. But then, almost 2,000 years later, you have the Haitian Revolution. The source explicitly calls it a Haitian victory. It created the first independent nation in Latin America, founded by former slaves. One story ends in total horror,
the other an incredible triumph. But here's the thing, and this is so important. Even though most rebellions fail, the idea behind them, that's a whole different story. An idea can be way more powerful than an army. It can jump borders and spread like wildfire, inspiring people long after the original fight is over.
And you want to see a perfect example? Look at 1848, the springtime of peoples. It kicks off in France in February. By March, just weeks later, revolutions are breaking out all over the German states, across the Italian peninsula, all through the Austrian Empire. It was a massive continent-wide chain reaction. It just shows you, once an idea like that is out there, you can't put it back in the bottle.
Which brings us all the way to today. Because maybe the most powerful thing about this list from Wikipedia is that it's not finished. It's a living, breathing document. There are already entries for the 2020s. History is happening right now, and this ancient pattern just keeps on going.
So what's the takeaway from all this? We've seen the sparks, the tax, the tyrant, the idea. We've seen that literally anyone can become a rebel. And we've seen the brutal odds, that most fail, but some achieve incredible victories. Looking at this long, unbroken line of defiance stretching back through all of human history, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What spark will light the next fire?